everybody. Welcome back. I'm Taylor, and today we are going to be doing a reaction and prediction video to the 75th Emmy Awards nomination list. But before we do that, please go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and while you're at it, go ahead and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video here on Critical Commentary. This is going to be a very interesting reaction and prediction video for a lot of different reasons. One, I think even though there is a nicer breakdown, and once we get into the actual categories, you'll see that that breakdown really isn't as robust as I believe some of the nomination totals per series images might show you. And for the second reason is obviously SAG just entered the WGA strike. So I'm curious to know what that means. Are we going to have people attending this Emmy? Will the Emmys just be kind of announced and then passed over to the winners? I don't know. I did find a Variety TikTok where one of the journalists was able to break down for us what the actors can and cannot do. And it says that they can't do interviews, it says they can't do junkets, but award shows are not on that list conveniently. And I wonder if that's because they do want to have the actors, especially the ones that are going to be in the categories that we will be discussing today. But will they actually appear as a way of showing solidarity with the rest of the members of the strike? I don't know, because there are writing and directing as well categories. We won't be getting into those, but I will be listing the full nomination list for those who are curious. So I'm curious. I want to know. So because of this interesting kind of conversation that we are going to be having today, I decided to make myself a pot and we will get into it, okay? We will, as they say, be pouring the tea. Make sure to have all of your predictions and your thoughts together. I really am curious to see what you guys think. And because this video might be a little bit long, or there might be certain sections that you really want to look at more than others, I will be making sure to post the time chapters in the video as well as in the description down below. Okay. I feel like this is going to be a long video, so let's just get into it, shall we? Outstanding Comedy Series. We have Abbott Elementary, Barry, Jury Duty, Only Murders in the Building, Ted Lasso, The Bear, and The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. This is an interesting category to predict right now. I will say of the list below, the only ones that I have not seen is Jury Duty, and I did not finish Barry. But I will say that Barry, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, and Ted Lasso just finished their runs. So I feel like those would definitely be in the top running. But at the end of the day, Abbott Elementary, really strong second season, really strong at the Golden Globes. So who knows? They could totally be an upset win. I know Only Murders in the Building definitely has its cult following, as I am one of those members. But do I think it would stand up to any of the other nominations? I don't know. I will say, though, the one that I would really love is The Bear. I loved the second season. I probably need to still do a review on that. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do a Bear review. I did kind of promise that. I should really stop making promises in videos that I'm not going to keep. Anyways, I would really love The Bear to win, but I also really love The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, despite it having a lackluster last season, as well as Ted Lasso. So we'll see. But that's kind of where I think that this will go. Outstanding Lead Actor in a Comedy Series. Bill Hader for Barry, Jason Segel for Shrinking, Martin Short for Only Murders in the Building, Jason Sudeikis for Ted Lasso, and Jeremy Allen White, The Bear. Whew, okay. I will say I really enjoyed Shrinking, despite the fact that there are so many ethical violations in that show. I thought it was a really great, just I guess you could say it was like a want fantasy for therapists in the field, and kind of like what they want to do versus what they should do as therapists. And so I think that if Jason Segel were able to win this category, that would be a really great thing for one, Apple TV, but also for that show. Again, like I said, Jason Sudeikis and Bill Hader, they just finished their shows. At least for Jason Sudeikis, we know he's not returning to Ted Lasso if they were to come back with another season. So I'll just count that as ended for now, especially because with the strike, we really don't know what's going to be happening in terms of how television is being made now. So I would say that Bill Hader and Jason Sudeikis are probably the front winners. But to be honest with you, like I said again, I would love Jeremy Allen White to win for The Bear. I do think that like in this season, he wasn't as active and as centered as he was in season one, but he did win the Golden Globe, and I do think that this might be for season one because, I maybe, I don't know. I feel like the way that the Emmy nominations work out, I'm assuming this is for season two because it just hit the nomination deadline. But I don't know. I really think that like it would be great if he won. It'd be great if Jason Segel won. Martin Short, I love him. He was nominated for Only Murders and hasn't. I don't think he won last time. If he did, let me know. I can't remember, but I don't know. I think that Only Murders is, while a really great show, a really entertaining show, it's definitely, in my opinion, like my guilty pleasure. I don't necessarily see it as being highbrow as maybe the other submissions are, but I think that honestly, it's such a boring panel. I mean, I just feel like there's really not a lot of diversity in this group, and so it's gonna go to one of these white men, right? Outstanding lead actress in a comedy series: Christina Applegate, Dead to Me; Rachel Brosnahan for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel; Quinta Brunson, Abbott Elementary; Natasha Lyonne, Poker Face; and Jenna Ortega for Wednesday. To be honest, Jenna Ortega for Wednesday, I think that just being nominated is enough. I don't think that she's going to win. I really do think that between the five, oh, I feel like it would honestly be Quinta or Natasha. I really liked Poker Face. I loved her rendition of Columbo, and I felt like it was also just very well shot. The cinematography was so good for that show, and I loved all of the different guest guest actors that came in and out for each episode. I do think that this will probably go to either Rachel Brosnahan or Christina Applegate. Rachel, because again, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, she won a lot of Emmys for the first, I think, 2 or 3 seasons. And because this is the final season, I could see them sending her off with another Emmy. And regarding Christina Applegate, I feel like with her progressive illness with MS, and because now she is quitting acting, or she's retiring from acting, I could see this also going to her just to kind of be like, as a way of honoring her for all of her career thus far. And I don't know, I would really be okay with any one of these five actresses. I think they're all amazing and really great, just talent. So I'm not really too pressed about who wins or loses in this category, but I definitely think that that might be where they go if that's how the Emmys are thinking. Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series: Anthony Carrigan for Barry; Phil Dunster for Ted Lasso; Brett Goldstein, Ted Lasso; James Marsden, Jury Duty; Eben Moss Brock. Oh, I'm so sorry. I am totally ruining his name. Eben Moss Brockrock for The Bear; Tyler James Williams for Abbott Elementary; and Henry Winkler for Barry. So I feel like I'm just going to be biased. I would love, and it sucks that I totally mispronounced his name, but Eben Moss Brockrock, I loved his episode in The Bear. Him in the car singing to Taylor Swift was chef's kiss, pun not intended. It was probably just like my favorite episode of the season, especially because it came after such a really heavy episode where, you know, we see a lot of like the family dysfunction going on, and we kind of see the origin of Hermie's disassociation. So I just found his episode to be so inspiring, and I felt like the train motif was just so good for him. I would love to see him win, and I think he would definitely be the upset in this category. Tyler James Williams, obviously he deserves it. I've been watching him since Everybody Hates Chris, and I would just love to see him win, especially for Abbott Elementary, because I don't know, based off of what I've seen so far in these categories, I don't know how much Abbott Elementary is going to win. And I would love for them to take home as many awards as possible. So I would love to see him as another upset. But I really do think it's probably going to be between Phil Dunster and Brett Goldstein from Ted Lasso, just because they are honestly the best characters in Ted Lasso, and their pseudo romance that they were having slash thruple thing ship going on with Keeley. I know a lot of people really were into the little bromance that was building between the two, and I definitely felt like it was what kept me interested in this last season of Ted Lasso. So I could see it being between the two of them, and they've actually been interviewed already about being in the same category and competing against each other, and they've been so supportive of each other, and they're kind of like, whichever one of us wins is still a win for Ted Lasso, and I just love that sportsmanship. So we'll see. This is a kind of difficult category just because this has a lot of people in it, but I really do think that between those four, that's probably where I would put my money on. Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Comedy Series: Alex Borstein for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Ayo Edebiri for The Bear, Janelle James, Abbott Elementary, Cheryl Lee Ralph, Abbott Elementary, Juno Temple, Ted Lasso, Hannah Waddingham for Ted Lasso, Jessica Williams for Shrinking. Now, because I've already looked at some of the slides of like what we're going to be going through, can I just say that this is, I think, the most diverse of all of the categories that we're going to go through today. I know that we're only going through, I think it's like 15 sections, but this was the most diverse one that I saw as far as like the acting and the big talent. I love to see 4 out of the 7 being Black women. I love that. I love seeing that. And they're all so strong talent, like in their own. They all have different things that they bring. I've been watching Jessica Williams since I was listening to her podcast, Two Dope Queens. Cheryl Lee Ralph honestly kills it in Abbott Elementary, and so does Janelle James. So it's like, it could go to them too. I do think that, like, honestly, it's between Janelle James and Cheryl Lee Ralph right now, just based off of like how big an impact their roles have made. I will say, honestly, I didn't love the queer love story with Juno Temple, and it's not because like I didn't want her to have a queer love story. I just felt like this should have been her season to be single, and I feel like we've just been shipping a lot to Keeley, and I just felt like, you know, it would be great if she would come out as her own and really stand on her own. I feel like that's the end of season 3, but I really would have liked to see that as a full arc for her. And Hannah Waddingham's already won a few times for Ted Lasso, so I don't know if she will get it. I guess if you had to say, like, who would be the obvious front runner, it would probably be her. But at the end of the day, I don't really know if that's going to be what they go for. I really think that the way that Abbott Elementary has just been winning in terms of the supporting actress category, that it would probably go to one of those 2 actresses. And then as far as Ayo Edebiri, I love her. I cannot wait to see her in Bottoms. Someone on Twitter said that she is like the personification of the zeitgeist of Gen Z, and I would maybe edit that to Zillennial. I think she's more in that Zillennial space, but I love her. She's cute, she's funny. Like, there's just so much that she brought to this season, because I felt like this was more so her season of The Bear. So I'm just glad to see her on this list, but I would love for her to be the upset win. I think she would be the upset win. And as far as like Alex Borstein goes, I love her as well. I've been watching her since, oh my gosh, Lindsay McGuire, sneaky brown noser with a hidden agenda. I never forgot that. But again, like, this was not a strong season for The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. So I don't know what the chances are for these actors in the categories to win, but I do think, again, because it did finish, I could see it being a honor for just a good run overall, because even though that last season wasn't very strong, most of the, like, I think honestly the first 3 seasons were probably some of the best I've ever seen in television. So I don't know. It could go to any one of these people, but I just really had to comment on how diverse this group is because this makes me so happy. Okay, switching to drama. Oh Lord, this is, I feel, going to be very interesting, and you'll see why when we get to one of these categories. Oh God, outstanding drama series. So we have Andor, Better Call Saul, House of the Dragon, Succession, The Crown, The Last of Us, The White Lotus, and Yellow Jackets. Ooh, okay. This is a heavy, 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 heavy category. As far as Andor, again, I think that this is just the fact that it was nominated was enough. I feel like Andor and Wednesday are going to be that niche kind of content that's going to be in here, mostly just to honor it, but I do not think it will win. Better Call Saul, I don't know. It could. It's kind of up there against Succession with its final season, and I mean, it's they were good, right? Like I guess I enjoyed the finale of Succession, but to be honest with you, I felt like this last season was just banal to me. The Crown, honestly, I can't believe that The Crown even fit in this category, like, just for this year. But I know that, like I said before, like, the Emmys, like, their cutoff dates are so weird. So I don't, I never really know. And it always feels like shows that are on here came out like another year prior. So, I mean, I guess it's here. I don't know if it's going to win anything. I don't remember it really winning a lot last year. But I could be wrong. Again, let me know in the comments if I am. If you know me, you know where my heart is at. It's honestly between the last 3 at the bottom. It's The Last of Us, The White Lotus, and Yellow Jackets. Those were honestly some of my favorite series this year. I do have to say that I felt like the Yellow Jackets, the season finale, was a little bit anticlimactic. And so I don't know, but I know that season 1 was great, and I don't remember it being nominated last year. So I'm wondering if it's being nominated to kind of make up for that. The Last of Us, I'm just so surprised it's even on here. I'm not, but I am. I did not realize how big of a phenomenon this was going to become. As someone who, like, loves video games and likes to see the adaptations, only to sometimes be disappointed by those adaptations, like, this was definitely, I think, so much better than that. Now, I do wish there were a little bit more zombie fighting, but at the end of the day, I felt like they understood the story so well, and I know that this is also because the people who created the game made the show, so I would love to see them win. House of the Dragon, I also would not be surprised if they win as well, just because they really pulled Game of Thrones out of that pit that it was in after the last season. So it could really be between those two. I really do think it's going to be an HBO project that wins in this category. So I honestly would put my money on House of the Dragon, Succession, The White Lotus, or The Last of Us, and I think anything else may be an upset, but I really do think that we're going to be seeing an HBO off between all of the series in this category. Outstanding lead actor in a drama series: Jeff Bridges, The Old Man; Brian Cox, Succession; Kieran Culkin, Succession; Bob Odenkirk, Better Call Saul; Pedro Pascal, The Last of Us; and Jeremy Strong for Succession. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I really don't. I'm not gonna lie. This is a weird category. I feel like, again, it could probably go to the older members in this group or in this category. I don't see it really going to those 3. I really do feel like it's going to be between Kieran, Pedro, and Jeremy Strong. I want Pedro Pascal to totally get it. I think that, like, he has had a year. His career is just like skyrocketing, and I love that he's also been a huge trans ally. I believe his sister is trans, and he supports her and loves her, and I just really think that like he really deserves this win. I don't even think he would be an upset. I really do think that he has just as much of a chance to win as Jeremy Strong's or Kieran Culkin. I really do believe that, especially because, like I said before, their last season was a little banal to me. Like, it was good. It ended in a way that I would have expected it to, which I think is why I was a little bit disappointed. I think a lot of people were disappointed, but I do think that, like, even still, Jeremy Strong and Kieran had some really good moments, especially Kieran. I feel like Roman came into his own a bit, had a really good arc this season, and so I wouldn't be surprised if he were to snatch it, but I really do think that it's going to be between those three competing for the gold for this one. Outstanding lead actress in a drama series: Sharon Horgan for Bad Sisters, Melanie Linsky, Yellow Jackets, Elizabeth Moss, The Handmaid's Tale, Bella Ramsey, The Last of Us, Carrie Russell, The Diplomat, and Sarah Snook for Succession. So I can say for certain, I do not think The Handmaid's Tale is going to win. The Handmaid's Tale hasn't really won anything for like the past 2 or 3 years. I think that's also because The Handmaid's Tale really overstayed its welcome on Hulu. I read the book and I loved the first 2 seasons, but honestly, I kind of just watch it now because I want to see if it's going to end and how it's going to end. But that show keeps running and I don't know how anymore. I mean, I love Elizabeth Moss. I thought she was amazing in The Invisible Man, but I just don't really think this is going to be her year. And I think that this show has just kind of started to run its course now and it's on fumes. So I really don't see her winning. As far as like front runners, I think definitely Melanie Linsky. I truly believe that Melanie Linsky will win. I think because Bella Ramsey, they're still in ingenue to some degree as far as acting. I know that that's not necessarily true because they were in Game of Thrones, but I don't know. They're still really young, and I don't know exactly like what's going to be what they're choosing based off of performance-wise. And I do think that Melanie Linsky just brought out a sense of psycho that you could only really imagine being in Christian Bale's eyes. And so I just felt like Melanie really did a good job with Yellow Jackets, especially with like the second season and kind of her dealing with her consequences kind of coming after her. Sarah Snook really did have a good performance for Succession, but her arc really wasn't as compelling as I thought it was going to be. And I don't know if that was necessarily intended and, done on purpose. So I don't really know. And as far as The Diplomat, I tried watching The Diplomat and I kind of got bored. I think it just reminded me a little too much of The Americans. And so I don't know. I don't know. You tell me. You tell me if you saw it and you felt like her performance was really compelling, because I really didn't finish it and I don't want to lie. And Bad Sisters with Sharon Horgan, I need to see that. I have not seen it, but now that I see that this is on the list, I will be pulling up Apple TV as soon as this video is done and I will be watching Bad Sisters, because I saw her and I think it's a BBC show with her sister, and they're both Irish, and one of them has like some mental health issues, and that's kind of what the story's about, that and addiction. I can't remember the title, but I'll probably put the poster somewhere on the screen. But I thought they were such an amazing duo together. I thought their dynamic was really good, and I would love to see her be an upset win. I really do think, though, that the upset win will be Bella Ramsey if Melanie Linsky does not win in this category. Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series: F. Murray Abraham, The White Lotus; Nicholas Braun, Succession; Michael Imperioli, The White Lotus; Theo James, The White Lotus; Matthew McFadden, Succession; Alan Ruck, Succession; Will Sharp, The White Lotus; and Alexander Skarsgård, Succession. This is the category I was talking about. Can someone explain to me why only The White Lotus and Succession is in here? Can someone explain? Like, I I don't even know. I mean, honestly, I really don't know. I feel like if I had to pick someone, because we're going to just go by the two series that are even in this category, I feel like if anyone's going to win for Succession, it's going to be Matthew McFadyen, Mr. Darcy himself. I loved him. I was actually betting that he would win Succession, so I was actually kind of happy with how things went for him. Not necessarily in relation to his marriage with Shiv, but I guess like I kind of didn't expect them to not get together just because, the show is Succession. And if you know me, I like aristocracy and I love like historical aristocratic series and things like that. And so I knew that he would need Shiv as a way of establishing legitimacy in his reign. But it was a weird ending, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, if anyone for Succession would win, it would be Matthew McFadyen. As far as the White Lotus, this is a little bit harder because I really liked F. Murray Abraham's portrayal of the grandfather, and Michael Imperioli as the father felt like he had just like a lot more to do in terms of like complexity that he was trying to convey. Will Sharp, I don't know. I do think that like his character was definitely integral. He was a part of that original four with Theo James, but with Aubrey Plaza. But I don't really know if I would say that his performance was super memorable. I think that honestly, The White Lotus season 2 had better female performances than male, but I honestly think that it'll probably be between F. Murray Abraham and Michael Imperioli. Those are the two that I think would really get it. If White Lotus were to take this category. Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Drama Series: Jennifer Coolidge, The White Lotus; Elizabeth Debicki, The Crown; Megan Fahey, The White Lotus; Sabrina Impacciatore, The White Lotus; Aubrey Plaza, The White Lotus; Rhea Seehorn, Better Call Saul; J. Smith Cameron, Succession; and Simona Tabasco, The White Lotus. I honestly think if anyone were to win, it's one of the women from The White Lotus. Like I said in the last category, I felt like the female performances were some of the best. Jennifer Coolidge was just going out in her chaotic neutral way, and I loved that for her. I felt like if they were going to recycle a character from season 1, I'm glad that it was her. Megan Fahey was good, but again, like I don't really remember. It's very weird. The only one that I really truly remember, or the people that I remember the most from that original 4, was Aubrey Plaza and Theo James. So I really don't think that between the other two parts of that couple that they would really have the same level of like performance significance. Sabrina Impacciatore, I actually found her maitre d' to just be so interesting, especially because like she was secretly hiding her sexuality and kind of like trying to figure out how to be that maitre d', and I felt like it was very interesting, especially in comparison to season 1's maitre d'. So I don't know, I think that she would be a really good option to win. I feel like it might be Aubrey Plaza or Jennifer Coolidge who takes this. I definitely see them as the front winners or front runners. Elizabeth Debicki playing Diana, Princess Diana, was good, but I do think that because we've already seen that, or at least a win for Diana for the crown, I don't think that this will be her year, and that really upsets me because I loved just seeing her. I just saw her actually in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. She's gorgeous as the Sovereign. So I don't know, like it would be nice to see her, but I don't really think she's going to win. I really do wonder though if Simona Tabasco, who was one of the sex workers in the White Lotus, I wonder if she might take it. I could see her totally being an upset win. Between her and Sabrina Impacciatore. I've never seen Better Call Saul, I haven't seen Better Call Saul, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Outstanding Limited or Anthology Series: Beef, Dahmer, Daisy Jones the Sixth, Fleshman is in Trouble, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Well, I can tell you this with utmost certainty. Obi-Wan Kenobi is not winning this section. um, I'm a Star Wars fan, and I sat through that mess, and I'm going to tell you, shame. Shame. I wish we had seen a different type of show. I don't think that it's going to win, but I do think it was nominated because Ewan McGregor was in it, and I love him, and I love everything he does, so outside of this, of course. To be honest with you, I really think it's going to be Beef. I don't know why. I feel like Dahmer has way too much controversy around it. I know that Beef also has controversy around it, but I think for Dahmer to win, I just feel like it would really be upsetting a lot of the victims' families. I could get into this all day. I really don't think that Dahmer is going to win this section. I think that fact that it was nominated is enough. I don't know how the families feel about it being nominated, but I do think that if it were to win, I don't think it would necessarily make up for a lot of the stuff that happened in production. So I don't see it winning. And as far as Daisy Jones and the Six, I know that this has a bit of a following, but it's a very niche following, and I don't really know if it would really win. I did not see this show myself, so I can't really, say, oh, I thought it was super amazing, but I just feel like because it doesn't really have a lot of people talking about it, that I don't really see it winning. And Fleshman is in Trouble. Honestly, don't even know the show. Don't even know it. I mean, I've seen ads, but I don't really know anything else about it, and I haven't really seen a lot of people talk about it, so I really wouldn't put my money there. I do think that it'll probably be between Beef and Dahmer, but again, I think that Beef should win because the fact that it's even in this section just kind of annoys me. I know that they have been trying to talk about a second season. That was something they were considering. I don't know if it needs another season, but I just think the fact that we're putting it in this like outstanding limited or anthology category, like why isn't The White Lotus in this category? You see what I'm saying? I don't know. That's me. That's my feelings. Next. Outstanding lead actor in a limited or anthology series or movie. Taron Egerton, Blackbird. Kumail Nanjiani, Welcome to Chippendales. Evan Peters, Dahmer. Daniel Radcliffe, Weird Al Yankovic Story. Michael Shannon, George and Tammy, and Stephen Yeun, Beef. I don't know. This is weird. This is hard. I feel like the front winners will definitely be Evan Peters and Taron Egerton. I would, again, feel weird about Dahmer winning in this category, but I feel like they're probably going to be the front runners. I would love for Stephen Yeun to win. I felt like he just really showed so much depth in his role. And again, I haven't really seen him in a whole lot of stuff. My only introduction to him was through Nope. I know he's in The Walking Dead, but I just felt like his performance was just too hard to not award. And I think that despite it not really getting as high of a rating and the fact that it never really hit number one, I think it hit one for like a day or two because I was following Beef's like numbers going up and down in the top 10 for Netflix, and I think it barely hit, number one. And so I really would love for the show to get its accolades and get its, nomination just so that it can set up the remaining people with better projects down the future. And I think that Stephen Yeun really would deserve it. Daniel Radcliffe, I love him, Harry Potter, but never really saw the Weird Al Yankovic Story, and I don't really know if I ever would. I'm sorry, don't shoot me. It came and it went, and I feel like, again, being nominated alone is a big deal. Michael Shannon and George and Tammy didn't see that as well, and I did try watching Welcome to Chippendales, but it just really wasn't for me. And so I'm curious to know if you have seen that show, if you felt like this was a very earned nomination, and if you think that he would truly be the upset win. But at this point, I think Stephen Yeun will be the upset win if Taron Egerton or Evan Peters do not win in this category. Outstanding lead actress in a limited or anthology series or movie. Lizzie Kaplan, Fleshman is in Trouble. Jessica Chastain, George and Tammy. Dominique Fishback, Swarm. Catherine Hahn, Tiny Beautiful Things. Riley Keough, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name. Daisy Jones and the Six, and Ali Wong, Beef. This is actually another pretty, it's somewhat diverse category, I guess. I really do think, though, that this will go to either Dominic Fishback or Ali Wong. Dominic Fishback had the internet in a complete chokehold over Swarm. I did not watch Swarm at the time that it was coming out, and I really, really do regret that. I felt like at the time I just didn't really know what it was, and I didn't know if people were really going to like it, and so I kind of skipped on it, and I think I was watching something else at the time, but her performance had people just losing their minds on the internet, and so I really think that she would deserve this win if Ali Wong does not take it for Beef. I think that those two would be honestly the front winners and the upsets. If I had to pick someone else, I guess you could say Lizzie Kaplan and Jessica Chastain, just because they're well known and have a really good career. And I know that Lizzie Kaplan right now is in that series remake of oh gosh, what's that movie called with Glenn Close? You know what I'm talking about. The one in the bathtub with the gunshot. Yeah, that movie. They're making a show about that, and I love her. She's been definitely on my radar ever since Mean Girls, Masters of Sex, so I think that she has just a good filmography to really push her up in standing in this category, but I really do think that it's going to go to Dominic Fishback or Ali Wong. Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Limited or Anthology Series or Movie. Murray Bartlett, Welcome to Chippendales. Peter Walter Hauser, Blackbird. Richard Jenkins, Dahmer. Joseph Lee, Beef. Ray Liotta, Blackbird. Young Manzino, Beef. And Jesse Plemons, Love and Death. Ooh, this might honestly be one that I don't know if I can properly guess. I think that it will most likely go to Ray Liotta posthumous, but I don't know. A lot of my reaction videos or my reactions or predictions to some awards that would go posthumously never did. And so, well, for some other reasons, but I don't know if it would go to Ray Liotta, just because that seems to become a trend now where they're not doing that anymore. I guess you could say Murray Bartlett, just because he's also having a year with The White Lotus, with The Last of Us, but I did not see him in Chippendale, so I don't know. I do know that Blackbird was definitely, again, a part of the zeitgeist when it was out. I think that people were talking about it positively just as much as people were talking about Dahmer negatively. So I wouldn't be surprised if Paul Hauser is the one to take this. If not him, maybe Ray Liotta. I do think that maybe Joseph Lee or Young Mazzino would be some upsets, but again, I don't really know exactly how much to predict on that, because I felt like David Cho. I know what you're all thinking, but I felt like David Cho was a more memorable performance. I did love Joseph Lee and Young's performance, but I'm very not surprised to not see David Cho on this list, but I don't know if those two actors would really be able to bring home the gold, and so I don't know. I really do think this might be going to Blackbird. Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Limited or Anthology Series or Movie. Annalee Ashford, Welcome to Chippendales. Maria Bello, Beef. Claire Danes, Fleshman is in Trouble. Juliette Lewis, Welcome to Chippendales. Camilla Morrone, Daisy Jones and the Six. Niecy Nash Betts, Dahmer, and Merritt Weaver, Tiny Beautiful Things. This is another category that, to be honest with you, I'm just not sure. I haven't seen Fleshman is in Trouble, and I haven't seen Daisy Jones and the Six, so I really don't know what to say about that. I do think that if someone were to win for Dahmer, and that could win for Dahmer without it being controversial, would be Niecy Nash Betts. She's also just a long time working actor. She's been in the field for a very long time, and I do think that even though I didn't love the portrayal of Dahmer and how it just seemed a little glorifying of his past, that she definitely did give it her all as one of the victim's mothers, and so, or I think as his neighbor. Was she the neighbor? I can't remember. Again, I barely got through the first episode. I think she might have been the neighbor if she wasn't a victim's mother. But I think she might have been both. So I could see her winning without it being an issue. Now, if Juliette Lewis was being nominated for season 2 of Yellow Jackets, or just Yellow Jackets in general, I would think that this would be her category. I think because it's specifically for Chippendales that I don't know, but you know how these awards go. Sometimes what they're nominated for isn't really what makes them win. Sometimes they win for other projects that they just weren't nominated for. And so I would not be surprised that if she were to win, and I definitely think that she would probably be an upset if she were to win, it would probably be because of her Yellow Jackets work rather than Chippendales, because it's just, I don't know. I just felt like, I'm just so surprised that that's what they picked. I know that it's, limited anthology series, but I think she definitely should have been in the drama supporting actress category. So I'm kind of surprised to see her here. As far as that, though, I really don't know a lot about the other projects that were in here to really say who I think would be the front winner. I guess you could say maybe Claire Danes, just because she is a tour de force, but again, I don't know. I never saw Fleshman's in Trouble, so I don't know how her performance was. So like I said, that was a really interesting list of nominations, and some of these, lists were great. I will say I think that the supporting actress in comedy category was still by far my favorite. I don't know exactly, what's going to happen if we're going to see a red carpet, because again, red carpets are pretty much interviewing and promoting their project. So is this even really gonna air? I'm curious to know. And if you have any information about whether or not it is going to be aired, please let me know what you think in the comments so we can clear this up. But I do think that now that SAG has entered the space, that we're going to definitely see a lot of the changes in Hollywood through these awards. And now that we're about to start hitting award season, it's going to be coming at full force. SAG has its own awards. Is that going to happen? Probably not. So I don't know what's going to really occur. I will say that at the end of the day, I support the writers and the actors that are in the WGA strike, and I want to see them succeed in what they are striving for. I'd rather be a little bit inconvenienced about how much TV I get to watch and how many movies I get to see this year or next year more like, than to have them come back to work. So I'm curious to know what you all think. Did you like this video? Did you find some of the categories to be just as funny, but like not in a ha-ha way as I did? Were there people that you felt were significantly snubbed from this year's Emmy Awards? Please let me know what you think down in the comments below. Also, make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and now Threads at CriticalCom with 2M's TV. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Have a great day, everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye.